Madam President, there have been a number of headline-grabbing days during the first 18 months of the Trump administration. But I think yesterday is going to rank among the most extraordinary, but for this senator from Vermont, among the most troubling. The President of the United States was effectively identified by his longtime lawyer and confidant as an unindicted co-conspirator in their efforts to commit criminal campaign finance violation. If what they're saying is true, and what he's pleading guilty to, his confidant, then candidate Trump arranged payments to two women he had affairs with in violation of federal law in order to keep those affairs hidden for the American people at the most critical time, days before the election. And further, last night, the lawyer for Mr. Cohen claimed that his client also has information relevant to whether President Trump had advanced knowledge and even supported the hacking of Democratic electronic files. In fact, we know that he gave a speech at one point saying if Russia's listening, they should hack. That crime, which we know was committed at the direction of Russian President Vladimir Putin, serves as a basis for Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation. And yesterday, within minutes of Mr. Cohen entering into his guilty plea, a jury found the president's former campaign manager guilty of numerous tax and bank fraud charges. So Paul Manafort will now face a separate trial concerning his work for a Putin-connected oligarch, both in Ukraine and here at home. And now there'll be another trial scheduled to begin next month. And Mr. Manafort has been charged with a conspiracy to defraud the United States and failing to register as a foreign agent and money laundering, among other things. The clouds of criminal conduct surrounding those close to the president are darkening. Directly or indirectly, his campaign manager, his personal attorney, multiple aides have now been swept up in the special counsel's investigation. This probe has resulted in numerous guilty pleas, 34 criminal indictments, and it's not complete. I've watched it both as a senator and as a former prosecutor, and it's so troubling. But I know one thing. It's crucial the special counsel be permitted to complete his investigation and do so without the daily, often hourly, interference from the president. During my 4 decades in the Senate, I've never before seen an investigation led by career apolitical law enforcement officials so personally and publicly maligned by a politician, let alone by the President of the United States. No American is above the law, and the President should stop acting as though he is. I'd also urge the Majority Leader to immediately bring the bipartisan legislation to protect the special counsel, bring it to the floor. We passed this legislation out of the Senate Judiciary Committee with a bipartisan vote. Anyone who says the president can be trusted to not undermine the special counsel has clearly not been paying attention. As the Manafort trial was going on, think of all the tweets. Do you think those weren't seen directly or indirectly by those involved in the trial? I mean, we know that the judge made clear his opposition to the prosecution, and the jury also had to listen to the president's tweets. Just think of what that does. It's equally critical that the Senate reassert its oversight responsibility over the executive branch, something that we've abrogated. If these were normal times, the Senate Judiciary Committee would immediately pursue an investigation. Indeed, the Judiciary Committee is uniquely situated to investigate the allegation raised by Mr. Cohen. The committee has jurisdiction over our criminal laws, including our campaign finance laws. And Mr. Cohen's lawyer has indicated that he is willing to testify before Congress without being granted immunity. Pretty extraordinary. It's difficult to reconcile the Judiciary Committee's inaction here with one of the most critical constitutional crises we've seen, certainly since I've been in the Senate, and I've been here for 44 years. It's difficult to reconcile the Judiciary Committee's inaction with its race to confirm President Trump's nominee to the Supreme Court. In fact, the timeline the Republicans are pursuing to consider Judge Kavanaugh is so aggressive that it will sideline the nonpartisan review of the nominees' record performed by the National Archives. That's occurred for every Supreme Court nominee since Watergate, whether Republican or Democrat. I mentioned earlier today that when I was chairman, Justice Kagan was up, the Republicans asked for a record. We got 99% of them. I went to the archives. I joined with the senior Republican, Jeff Sessions, on the committee to request them. We got 99% of those records before the hearing. We had 3 or 4% of Judge Kavanaugh's records. I'm told basically that's all we're going to see. And those were handpicked by a lawyer who, among other, has clients, Steve Bannon, and has handled other very partisan clients. Now, the Russia investigation is the most pressing national security investigation of our time. Here we have a powerful country, Russia, that is working against us. We know, we just pick up the paper without going into any of the classified hearings that most of us have been to. Read what's in the paper about the hacking Russia has done, the billions of dollars it's cost people, the hacking that continues this moment against the United States. This is the Russia that the president publicly called upon during a campaign rally to hack his opponents' computers. Now, we know from what we have seen, what our intelligence community told us, that they did try to influence the last election. And we do know that they intend to try to influence the elections this year, not only in our country, but in other countries. This is a major, major problem, and it's being ignored. And so I think history is going to judge all of us in the United States Senate very harshly if we collectively shrug our shoulders, disregard our constitutional responsibility to oversee the executive branch in this moment. We represent a co-equal branch of government. It's time we ought to act like it.